Hi Scorpio, this is your reading for February 2023. My name's Hayley. Welcome to HR Astrology Services. I have laid your cards out on the spread and meditated on them for a while. I just find that it's a lot easier for me to read this way, and I get to pull through more messages for you. I will be pulling through from some other decks as well, and a deck that I've created for myself. So stick around, this may be your reading. Cross watchers obviously are welcome here as well. If you feel like you need to flip the roles, flip them. And it's not gender specific. So if I'm describing a king as he, it could quite definitely be a she. It's energy that we're working with, not gender. So, right, okay. So the thing that I'm picking up in this reading is addictions, bondage. I feel like you're cutting a lot of ties at the moment, and you are really trying to transform yourself, which isn't uncommon for Scorpios being ruled by Pluto. But right in the middle of your spread, we've got this King of Cups, and the King of Cups can symbolise addictions, the things that we attach ourselves to. It can symbolise where we lose ourselves, escapism. It's kind of like that dreamy, subconscious energy. But behind it, we've got this Three of Pentacles. So this is telling me that you've been doing some work on yourself. You've been analysing yourself. You've been making some adjustments and trying to just level up, I'm hearing. The King of Cups is someone that can get quite lost in themselves, in their own emotions. They're not very good at sharing emotions. This King of Cups is not very good at sharing his emotions or being open with other people. But he does have this really cool, calm, collected exterior. So people quite often come to him with problems. They will say, how do I do this? How do I do that? You seem to kind of hold yourself together quite well. But being Scorpio, it's almost like there's this ever-burning fire inside of them. And people don't see that often, to be honest. And I feel like this is where this addiction's coming from. It's almost like you take on hugely empathic, but you take on a lot of other people's problems. So a lot of people could be coming to you right now, sharing the problems with you, and just kind of seeking answers to probably situation. They're seeking answers to situations that you probably may not even have the answers for. However, you are seen as somebody who is very, very comforting, someone who's very empathic, someone who just tends to get it or tends to understand. But I feel like you don't feel like other people are there for you in the way that you need them to be. The King of Cups is someone who's very deep, very emotional. Like their depth runs to the pit of their stomach. Like I feel you might even struggle to put into words how you're feeling sometimes, because it's almost like no word that you think of slaps in the way that it needs to. But I do see a sense of healing going on. I do see some inner work going on. I feel like you've turned your attention to yourself and your own emotions rather than the emotions of other people. So I feel like you may be isolating yourself at the moment, because we do have the Hermit card here, and the Hermit does talk about really going within and asking yourself those important questions like, who am I? You maybe reach, the lighting's really poor. I don't know what I've done to the camera, but you may be really asking yourself questions at the moment like, who am I? What's my purpose? Where do I belong? What have I been doing for the last 20, 25, 30 years? How did I get myself into this position? Like, you're really kind of doing some deep soul searching. And I think what it's unearthing is the fact that you are very much there for the people in your lives, your close circle, which, it's good to support people. But I feel like you're at a point now where it's like, but who's supporting me? Where am I getting my support from? And I feel like you may be drinking through this, or you may be taking substances or some other form of escapism. It could be food, because the pentacles are indicated. So it could be, eating, comfort eating. It could be, again, drugs, drink. It could be sex. It could be anything really. Just anything that you are doing that is going against your better judgment, and it seems like you can't stop it. It's almost like habits and behaviours that have been formed as a coping mechanism, but in actual fact, they're not serving you in the way that maybe they once were. So I do feel like you have got some support here. You've reached out to somebody. I mean, this could be a person, this could be some type of business or some type of establishment, or, you know, just some type of, I'm hearing like charity, or just something for you to lean on. I'm hearing like you are leaning on something that's kind of providing you with a sense of stability. It's not complete stability, but it's just like support. It's almost like when you break your leg and you get a cast. The leg doesn't fix, it supports the leg so that it can heal. So there is kind of this vibe of you leaning on someone or something in order to feel that level of support. I feel like whoever this person is, or this you know, establishment, let's just put it that way, who you're leaning on for support, it's almost like they're asking you, so what do you want to do with your life? Like, do you have any ambitions? Do you have any goals? Like, where do you see yourself in 10 years? And it's forcing you to ask yourself these questions and really kind of dig deep and go within. I feel like you've been focusing on everybody else's issues for so long. It's almost kind of like you've lost yourself in that a little bit, and you're wandering through the abyss and you're thinking, like, where do I go from here? Because for a long time, I just feel like you've been putting one foot in front of the other. You may have been living day to day, not really kind of planning for the future, just attending to your very immediate needs. But I feel like when you go home on a night time, when that door's closed, when there's nobody around, you really kind of let your guard down and you try to escape. It's almost like a purging of all this built up emotion that you've collected from other people. So you'll that's when you'll drink, or that's when you'll take drugs, or it's almost like when the door's shut and you can shut the world out. So I do feel like there's this element of privacy here. I don't feel like maybe people around you even know that this is what you're doing. I feel like it's done very much under the cover, which is why you've had to kind of go out of your way to gain some type of support from someone, because it's almost like you don't want people to know that this is where you're at, because a lot of the time you put on this brave face. You put on this brave face of everything's fine, I'm just going about my daily biz, I'm just kind of getting stuff done, and but deep down there's this really intense burning, like, it's like it's almost, I'm feeling like it's really repressed anger. Especially with it being your Scorpio read, it's like there's this repression of anger that only seems to subside when you are taking substances. It kind of like just tempers that fire a little bit inside you. I feel like in the past, this situation did have its benefits. Like, I feel like it did help a little bit. You know, this is a card of equal give and take. So it's almost like you didn't mind what you were doing, or you didn't think it was a problem, because it's like, well, if it makes me feel better, or if it fixes my issue, or if it makes me sleep on a night time, or something along them lines, it did benefit you. But it's almost like moving into current energy. It's like, no, I'm ready to work on myself now. I realised that I was just suppressing, and I realised that I was spending a lot of money, and it's not kind of bringing back the, it's not slapping the same. It's not kind of giving me the benefit of what it was when I first started. So let's say, for example, you sit at home on a night time and you might crack open a bottle of wine. For a very long time, that really served your needs. It was just a way to relax. It was a way to, you know, but then pretty soon you realise that you were using it as a crutch. So rather than it just being, oh, this is my choice, this is what I want to do, it's almost like, oh my God, I need a glass of wine. It's very, very different. You're coming from a very different perspective, and it also, because you're attaching emotions to it, it becomes very personal as well. So you may have been doing this in private. I feel like you've invested a lot of your money actually into whatever it is that you've been doing in private. I feel like you're losing interest in it, though. It's almost like you're losing interest in the fact that it can bring you a sense of temporary healing, and it's almost like, yeah, but I'm spending loads of money. Like, this is not a quick fix. This is not, you know, whatever it is that's going on inside me is not something that can be fixed with a bottle of wine. It's like it's much, much, much deeper stuff. So you may even be seeking help from some type of spiritual guidance with this Hermit card. This is the teacher. This is someone who is knowledgeable. This is someone, again, this ties very nicely with this too about partnering up with somebody that's supporting you, and asking them the questions like, how did you do it? I feel like this is people that have been in this situation as well. So you're gaining advice from them, and you're saying, you know, how did you cope? And, you know, what kind of coping strategies did you use, and really trying to apply them to your own life. One thing I will say with the Hermit card is, yes, it's a very good card for kind of spiritual, evolving spiritually and asking yourself these questions. But we're not supposed to sit in these energies for too long. And I feel like you've been sat in this Hermit energy for quite a while. And shrouded in darkness is what I'm trying to say. It's like behind the veil where nobody's looking, you are shrouded in darkness. And one of the things about putting blocks up when you're feeling that way is that although nothing slips, you're not telling people your problems, you're not overloading them with your issues, it also stops things from coming in as well. So where you need support, where you need love, where you need somebody kind of fighting for your, in your corner, you're blocking that out because you're saying no, because in order for me to get that, I need to tell you what I'm doing, what's putting me in this situation. And I just feel like there's this huge kind of grip on privacy. Whoever I'm speaking to, you're not willing to share this with anybody. You're not willing to. I feel like you're viewing it maybe as even a character flaw, like I am flawed, like this is me. And it's almost like you're not realizing that there may be things going on within the psyche that you need to process. So in actual fact, yes, it is a part of you, but it's a part of you that can be handled in a much healthier way. And I think one of the things that I would advise you to do is to try to train yourself to open up a little bit. Obviously, that's easier said than done. But it may just be making comments to people that you don't. Let's say if you're not somebody that necessarily tells people, I love you enough, maybe try that on one of your children more often, or one of your partner more often, something like that, just to try to open up that it's almost like a new flow of emotion or a new stream. I'm getting something like that. So I feel like you're standing on the precipice of your life right now, and you're looking out and you're saying, look, where do I want to go? What direction do I want to take my life in? I feel like you may be wanting to go on a bit of a trip or some kind of rehabilitation or retreat of some kind, so that you can just break the cycle, is what I'm hearing. It's very hard for you to break the cycle whilst you're in your current environment, because maybe not everybody knows what's going on with you. So it's almost like this, whatever's around you in your environment keeps happening. It's almost like repetitive. So it's kind of like, I need to get away to break the cycle so that when I can reapproach the situation, I'm approaching it from a newer perspective, or, I've had enough time out to heal, and, it's something along those lines. So you may be even wanting to visit family. You may be wanting to go and stay with somebody for a while. Again, I'm getting like an uncle, maybe even like an uncle you might want to go and stay with, but someone that's a little bit older and wiser than you. If this isn't a person, if it's not family, then this is just somebody like, like a counsellor that you're attending counselling or therapy or something along them lines. And I don't think it's evasive. I don't think it's like, oh, you need surgery. I think it's more of like a counselling therapy, an everyday thing. It's almost like checking in. It's kind of that. It's kind of a consistent, low level type of healing rather than it's just something like that. Something like a talking therapy or CBT therapy. I'm hearing as well, or just like coping strategies, ways to cope in your life. You are someone that's very conflicted by everybody else's behaviours and habits. Again, being a huge empath, it may be that there's people around you that are behaving in a certain way or approaching you in a certain way, and it's quite hurtful or it's quite harmful. They don't realise that this is the case, though, because you are, again, someone that's very closed off emotionally. You don't like to show your emotions. You don't like to show your feelings. But once you do, it's like a holy hellfire is what I could. It's like, it's really intense. There's an intensity to this dynamic. I don't think the intensity is coming from the substance abuse. I think the intensity is your emotions, and the substance or whatever it is that you're addicted or attached or tied to is it's almost like self-medication. I feel like people, whoever this reading resonates for, are medicating themselves rather than seeking the help and the assistance that they actually need. I do think that things are going to balance out for you a little bit. Now, this isn't a card of complete healing, but this is a card of saying, let's talk about it. Justice is ruled by Libra. Libra rules the mind. And it's all about that balanced, harmonious atmosphere. So this is really kind of speaking to counselling again, seeking advice from a professional. This could talk about laws, legalities, and agreements. It's almost like you're going to someone and they're saying, so what are we going to do this week? And it's almost like you're setting these rules for yourself, all these boundaries, and you're saying, right, this week I'm going to try, or this week and you're kind of sticking to them. It's not like law is in, oh, if you don't do this, you will go to prison. I mean, it might be, but that's really not what I'm getting. It's more about kind of you putting boundaries in place for yourself, but also kind of being true to yourself and saying, look, I deserve to be treated fairly. I deserve to be heard. It's good and well people coming to me for advice, but when was the last time anyone asked me how I'm doing? And I think it's because it has to be teased out of you, how you're feeling, your emotions, how you feel about things. It's almost like people need to tease it out. You're not someone that is just an open book that just shares everything. I think one of the problems with oversharing with a lot of people is that we can get confused, and it's almost like, well, that was a bit of sound advice, that was a bit of sound advice, and it's almost like it goes in one ear and out the other. So you're kind of focusing on one person and one person only and saying, look, you advise me, you tell me, you're the all-knowing, all-seeing, all-wise, do you know what I mean? It's almost like, can you see this person is just focusing in? When I was meditating on this Hermit card as well, I also picked up that you are very small, but you are mighty. So you may be small in stature, you may be small, have a small build to you, but you are mighty. So this could be, there is a bit of power in you somewhere that is so strong, and people see that, but you don't see it. So it's almost like, this is maybe why you feel you can't share yourself with people in the way that you wish you could, because they just expect you to have all the answers. They just expect you to have to know everything because your life seems very together. I don't think they're actually comprehending the struggle it takes you every day just to smile at the moment. I do feel like there's this very heavy energy of trying to overcome deep emotions, traumas, and addictions. There could have been a separation as well with Libra showing up, and you may have been addicted to a person. So Libra talks about marriage, but it also talks about divorce more so. The Hierophant's more marriage, and that's Taurus. But justice is more about divorce. Marriage is a very broad umbrella, and the marriage is just the beginning of a journey, but the divorce is the ending. So there could be an end to a relationship, and it's caused you to overdrink, it's caused you to overeat. You're seeking comfort in places that you've never really had to before, because maybe you did have this partner. Maybe this is why you're really closed off as well, because it's almost like nobody can do it like this person. Like, this person was my counsel for a lot of years. I'm hearing like a long time. So it's very upsetting to you, but I do feel like you've fallen into bad habits because of this breakup, because of this divorce. You may have felt like it was very unfair. You may have felt like the decision was made abruptly and you didn't really get a chance to speak up, or you didn't really get a chance to have your say, something to that effect. I am seeing that at one point, if this is a relationship that you've left, this was a relationship that was balanced. It was the two people that were involved in this relationship were very much equally yoked, but I think things became a little bit distorted maybe between the two of you, and that's kind of what forced you to kind of close up emotionally. But it's like you were struggling with that. You wanted to tell this person how you felt, you wanted to open up, you wanted to be honest, and you wanted to be real. But because of the situation, because of the dynamic, or because of the ways things were going, it's almost like that didn't happen, and it caused a huge imbalance. And when you're in a relationship and you stop speaking to someone, it becomes really hard to open up that line of communication, because it's almost like, well, where do I start? Like, there's so much that needs speaking about. Sometimes we struggle to structure what it is that we need to say, especially when we attach it to emotions. It's just really hard to get to the seed of what it is we're trying to communicate. So I do feel like you may be taking a trip, you may be taking a vacation, you may be wanting to kind of go and stay with family members, or just remove yourself from this situation for a while. I feel like you're wanting to leave the past in the past. I feel like there is a sense of finality to this. So this isn't this is not something that I believe is going to pick back up. It's almost like, no, this is done now. So this isn't like you've split up with your boyfriend, you've had an argument, you're getting back together. No, this is like a separation, like done. So you may be wanting to kind of move on from that and move past it, but whilst you're sat in this energy of being at home and just having the blanket over you, watching crap on television, just really kind of soaking in that, oh my God, my life's a mess. You're kind of wanting to get out there again. And I do feel like there is benefits to that you can actually see. So it's not just a case of people saying, oh, you need to get out more. No, you need to get out more. You need to move your body more. I feel like there is a goal that you have set for yourself, but it seems like such a far way away. That it's going to take a level of strength and resilience to pull it off. Because through healing the addiction, you're having to heal something much more emotionally ingrained into your psyche. This isn't just about substances. I always believe, I do believe that substance abuse is a symptom of something much more. And that's what you're recognising now with this reading. You're saying, yeah, I understand that that's just part of the problem. It isn't the problem. You've got the Four of Cups here, and the Four of Cups talks about stagnancy and emotions. It talks about kind of trying to structure them and organize them actually as well. You're trying to figure out what belongs where. I'm getting like displaced emotion. So you may have taken on other people's thoughts and feelings and believed them to be your own, when in actual fact there wasn't. They belonged to other people. And that's why they left you feeling so confused, because it's like, where do I put this emotion? Where do I put this feeling? You struggle to categorize it in your mind, and the reason why you did that is because it's not your emotion, and there's nowhere for it to plug into. You just need to process it, or you need to even though that you are somebody that kind of wears a heavy armor, I do think that things tend to slip in between the cracks, and it's those things that slip in because it's not something that you're used to doing. You're not used to opening up. If this is making sense, this is very specific, so this is going to be for probably just a few people, but it actually surprises you. So when you realise in the future, because I think that's going to happen for you, that this is not your emotion, it's going to really shock you. Like, oh, right, I didn't realise that I did that. That's what's going to cause this healing, this journey, this journey of self-love, this journey of acceptance, this journey of, you just discovering yourself, your raw self. This is what I'm getting. Like, it's like your raw self. You're kind of shaking everything off and starting from scratch and saying, look, who am I? Let me build myself from scratch. I've messed with my camera, so it's all over the place. But I feel like I hear shaving for some reason. So some of you could have recently shaved, or maybe shaved your beard off or something like that, or maybe even shaved your head, actually, because of what you was processing, the trauma that you've been through. Some of you could have actually just shaved your head recently. But I do feel like you are getting rid of the excess. Let's just put it that way. Kind of going back to old school, man. Like, going back to, how do I heal this? Like, give me some natural remedy. Give me some herbalism. Give me some, do you know what I mean? Like, there's just something like that. I'm also hearing like Reiki healing could even be a thing for you right now. But it's almost like the way that you've been doing it isn't working anymore. So you're seeking guidance, spiritual guidance, holistic guidance, guidance from a medical practitioner, guidance from, it could be anybody, but you're really kind of wanting to sort out the mess that's going on inside. It's almost like spaghetti junction. You just really don't know there's that many things that's going on inside you right now. You just don't know which one to start with. You don't know how to unpick it, is what I'm trying to say. It's almost like if it's Jenga, if I take out one block, it's all just going to come tumbling down. But in actual fact, that's exactly what needs to happen. I'm seeing Tower now, and this is just channeling, but the Tower card is very much about letting things go, letting your guard down, and it's almost like a flood. It's like a tsunami of emotion just comes flooding out. But there is a tremendous amount of healing that comes from that as well. It's almost like being flushed out. Some of you could be having renal flushes as well, I'm seeing, trying to detox, trying to get rid of all the toxins out of your body. But more so, I feel like this could be emotional. There is a definite sense of purging going on. There's a definite sense of trying to purify the soul, trying to purify the spirit. It could be that this is leaking out into other areas of your life now. So let's say, for example, if you are somebody that's prone to alcoholism or somebody that likes to drink, it's almost like you keep waking up late for work, you're not making it on time, your bosses are asking you, like, where have you been? They're asking you to complete tasks, but you're struggling to get them completed because you're tired. Just something like that. It's almost like this is kind of starting to seep out now, and this is why you want to seek guidance, because you don't want to show everybody this. You don't want to open yourself up and say, look at how much of a mess I am, everybody, because you're somebody that's usually viewed as somebody that is very, very together, well put together, composed, emotionally composed. But it isn't emotional composure, it's emotional detachment. Because you haven't got the capacity to allow other people's emotions to penetrate you anymore. It's just too much. So the reading's got on a little bit, so I'm going to pull just a couple of cards. I'm trying to keep them at about 30 minutes just so that I can make sure that everybody gets a reading in time. I am going to start putting little readings out in between the monthlies, so hit the notifications bell, like this video if it resonates, and subscribe, because that really helps the channel and it allows me to continue to do this. That's too many cards. So the moon's showing itself. So the moon talks about illusion. So you could be deluding yourself right now. You could actually be quite fearful of the person that you are beneath the surface. It's almost like you know that there is a lot of skeletons in your closet. So there may be some type of fear to go probing around, because you might be scared of what it is that you find. Absolutely. We've got heartbreak here, 3 of Swords. So this is the purging. This is what you're trying to get rid of. And it could be in relation to the King of Pentacles. So if this is a relationship, this would be the husband that you've separated from, or the wife, could be either. But this is someone that played a very dominant role in your life. This is somebody that really kind of, you felt like they were your everything. You had everything that you needed. They were your stability. They were solid. They were grounded. They provided. They were good with the kids. Like, this guy has it all, or girl. But there is heartbreak here. There is absolute heartbreak here. And I do feel like the heartbreak is because, again, I'm just hearing you took on so many of other people's emotions that it really started to affect your psyche, and you maybe changed a little bit. I know this is quite hard to hear, but it is what it is. You changed a little bit because of that. So this person slowly started to pull away. The King of Pentacles is someone that's pretty easygoing. Is kind of, like I said, he's stable, he's grounded, he's got his shit together. It's somebody that maybe works out, he looks after his body, he eats well. It's almost like this is like the catch, basically. This is what everybody's looking for. Especially when it comes to marriage. But it's almost like you became quite intense. Your emotions became very intense for this person. Because they are so easygoing, and it's got to a point where I'm hearing like, I think maybe when this person told you that they wanted a divorce, or they wanted to separate, or something along the lines, because it doesn't have to be divorce, it could just be separation, but it's like your heart burst in your chest, like you couldn't believe it. You're somebody that feels on a huge scale, and it's almost like your heart burst, and it was just like, complete devastation. And that's where you turn to this substance abuse, or overeating, over drinking. It was just like, it's a lot. And now you're really trying to understand the crux of this situation. You're realizing that externally, you did take on a lot of people's problems. You did let other people interfere in your psyche, in your well-being. And you was coming home on an evening, and it was your husband or your partner or your wife or whatever that was actually getting the burden of that. And it just became too much. Solid people tend to hold people up. The King of Pentacles is a solid guy. This is a solid girl. And they hold people up, but they will not do that to the detriment of themselves. I feel like you might be blaming other people for the fact that this has now come to an end. So there may be a reluctance, or there has been in the past, a reluctance to accept responsibility for the role that you've played. However, now you're knowledgeable of that, and it's causing a lot of pain, it's causing a lot of heartbreak, and it's causing you a lot of suffering, because it's almost like the damage is being done. So yeah, this is a heavy reading, so that's what I'm getting for that. This is a deck that I've created with just some additional messages. We'll see what comes out here. So education. So we've got a few here. So we've got education. So I feel like you're educating yourself right now. Again, this goes nicely with the Hermit. You know, you're actually reaching out to people. You're getting the assistance that you need, the guidance that you need. You may be networking. You're kind of meeting other people in similar scenarios and sharing stories. I'm almost hearing like sat around the campfire sharing stories. So you're kind of taking a lot of inspiration from others that have been in similar situations right now. This is the end, isn't it? So again, this is where this heartbreak's coming from. It's this realization that this situation has come to an end, and it's almost like now you can completely just let go, just let it go. You know, I feel like, especially when we end situations, there's an inherent need to try to keep things together, because as human beings, that's what we like. We like to be together, as rather than like, you know, fragmented. However, I feel like there's this realization of this is the end, isn't it? And it's almost like, and now you're going into this reflective mode of, you know, the role and the part that you played in this. My heart is not a pincushion. So I feel like, again, this might be reactive. I think this is a message from this King of Pentacles. My heart is not a pincushion. You may have lashed out at this person a few times because of all that suppressed anger, because of all the suppressed trauma, or all the suppressed emotions that you just housed, basically. It's almost like that seeped through the cracks, and you really hurt this person, probably unknowingly. Because they were really easygoing. You know, this is not someone that tends to be intense. This is quite the opposite. This is someone who's very easygoing, flows with the, you know, goes with the flow type energy. And it's almost like the saying, every time you attacked me, in a nice way, every time you attacked me, that really hurt. It hurt, and my heart is not a pincushion. This person could have actually said to you, I'm with you because I choose to be with you, and not because I have to. So that's a really strong message for somebody out there. But I feel like you may have just kind of lost your way a little bit, so to speak. You tick all my boxes. I feel like this is your energy. This is you kind of really sitting in that heartache of, this person was too good to be true. You know, we got together, we met each other, things were going well. I actually believe that this person was just, you know, above my league, out of my league, whatever. I feel like there's a sense of obsession as well coming through now with this. You tick all my boxes. I feel like this is really what's causing you a sense of trauma as well, because you are obsessed with this person. And rightly so, if it is your husband or your wife. You know, we tend to develop really strong attachments to them. But, you know, just because this person ticks all your boxes doesn't mean that you are not worthy. It doesn't mean that you're not as good as them. It doesn't mean that you can't find somebody like them again. But I feel like at the point that you're at now, you are probably thinking that inside your head that, you know, this is where I'm at. Like, this person just ticked all my boxes. They were amazing. I'm never going to find anyone like that again. But that's just not true. I just think like a lot of healing needs to take place first. I feel like there's a lot of self-reflection that needs to take place. You know, a lot of things go down within a marriage. You know, a family, you may have children, you may have offspring. You know, there's people like to get involved. People, you know, there's a lot, and it's a constant tension. You know, marriage is the tension between getting married and ultimately either separating via divorce or dying. You know, it's that whole journey in between. That's the marriage. And it's almost like there's been so many hiccups. And I'm seeing a heart now, as in like somebody may have like a heart problem or a heart murmur or something like that. But there is this, that's the marriage is a tension, and I just feel like it got a little bit too much. Again, you can flip the roles. You know, this energy goes both ways. So if you're the person that left, it was because your partner's emotions were just far too intense. You tried to support them, you tried to be there for them, you tried to be the friend that they needed. But in the end, you had to really pull back on your energy, because you can only help someone so far as they're willing to help themselves. And I feel like this person was just so far gone. It was even out of your remit to be able to help this person. You recognize that this person maybe needed psychological help, emotional help. Maybe this person has been through a lot of trauma that you recognize because you are Scorpio, so you do have that ability. And you know, you tried to work with them for as long as you could, but it just got to a point where you just threw the hat in and said, look, you need to do this by yourself. Like, nothing that I say or do is going to fix this, and this is a problem in our relationship, so I'm just going to take a bit of a back foot. I'm not going to involve myself as heavily. And I think maybe in that separation you've realized that, you know, it's really not my task to fix people. They have to fix themselves. And just because you're in a relationship, and just maybe because you're in a marriage or whatever, or this could be a friendship, you know, take it as it resonates. It is not my job to do that. That is not what I signed up for. So, you know, you could be feeling a little bit selfish at the moment, but I don't think that it's an unnecessary selfishness if you are the stabilizing factor in this scenario. So that was pretty heavy and it got pretty intense, but that's the message for Scorpio. That's what I'm seeing. There has been some deception and some lying and some sneaking with this Seven of Wands showing up. So I just feel like, or maybe somebody's kind of making up their own version of events, and it's really not helping at all. The fact that you're in your head, and it's almost like you're gathering thoughts or facts that are not actually true. There's no truth, or there's no proof, should we just say. There's no proof in what it is that you're thinking and telling yourself. The key to prayer is to forget what I think I need. Now, I feel like this ties in with the you tick all my boxes, to be honest. The key to prayer is to forget what I think I need. So this is a kind of energy of giving it up to the divine and saying, look, I know what I think that I need. I need this person. This person ticks all my boxes. But it's almost like you've attached yourself to that idea so viciously that your prayers are not going to be answered, because spirit works through you, and spirit's reflective. It's very reflective, especially spirituality. Just think about spirituality. What is it? It's a kind of a deep level of self-reflection. But because you're so dead set on the fact that you need this person, it's really hard to hear the voice of God or the voice of spirit, or, you know, it's really hard to see the signs and the signals of the universe to try to get you onto that next path, because I do feel like you are approaching something new, you know, that something has come in for you, some brand new opportunity, but you are at the very beginning of it. And I feel like by opening yourself up and just venturing down that path, it's going to bring a big sense of healing to you. You're going to see the world through different eyes. It's going to shift your perspective. You're not going to look on things the same way anymore. And that's really what's going to bring this level of healing to you. I feel like whatever this person's teaching you, so if you look at the staff of the magician, whatever it is that this person's teaching you, it's actually, you're going to be carrying that with you wherever you go. I've just realised that I'm actually filming this on the wrong camera. So if this video is not as good quality as the rest of them, that's why. I'm not doing the reading again. So whatever this teaching is, whatever, you know, the advice and the tips that you're getting, they're really gonna, you know, this person's gonna influence you heavy, man. Heavy. This could be a Virgo that you're dealing with. If it's not a Virgo, it's just someone that you're working with. It could be a colleague. It could be somebody that you go to school with, somebody you go to college with, somebody that you were working on a project with of some kind. You know, just someone that's very, very, you know, they just seem to like have all the answers. Which is why I'm saying it's some kind of professional. This very close analysis of your spark at the moment. It's almost like the saying, let's get that spark back, let's fix you, you know, you're a doer-upper, I'm hearing as well. So I think somebody might be doing the car up. Just got that. So that's your reading. Again, like I said, this has been done on the wrong camera, so if I'm looking up, it's because, but anyway, it is what it is. So this is your reading. If you like it, I do take personal readings, so you can find all my details in the description box below. Anything you need to know about me is in the description box below. I have a Facebook page and you can book my services on Facebook. And until next time, I think I'm just going to leave it there, Scorpio. Bye.